Is there something very unique that Flipkart's doing from a tech muscle or a moat that you believe is there in the quick commerce world?
It has to be unique. Otherwise, in this unit economics world, we will not win. I wouldn't have thought that I would be doing this about a year ago. If I can start talking to my app like a shopping assistant, it's going to be magic.
It's about using the right frame and optimizing within that focus.
Exactly. I wouldn't say that we are the only ones that are doing it. There are others also doing it. Now, who is going to do it well? That remains to be seen, right? That's a race, right? And it's a technology race more than anything else.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Water Delivery. Today, we are going to discuss a very interesting topic on technology. An area possibly, in hindsight, I always felt that I should have maybe done coding skills more than my CA skills. But now with this entire AI evolution, who knows whether the decision stayed true. Joining me today for this very exciting discussion is our Chief Product and Technology Officer, Balaji Thiagarajan. Balaji joins us from great institutes in past like Google, Microsoft, and Uber. Welcome to the episode, Balaji.
Thank you, Ravi.
You've seen this this entire journey in US across big tech companies. When you landed in India for this opportunity, what was your biggest realization?
My first biggest realization is, what am I thinking? I came here with a sparkle in my eyes, with a hope to kind of capture the wave of growth and innovation that the Indian economy and the general ecosystem is going through. Look, India is an economy that was built not only on exports, it was also built on consumer spending, right? And Flipkart gave me the opportunity to be here, to be part of that consumer spending, economy. And as the economy is moving to the online world, Flipkart is at the center of it, and my role just offers that opportunity to drive an impact that is life-changing, for many folks in India. But frankly, from a career opportunity perspective, it is one of the best that I could think of.
Staying on that track, obviously, technology today permeates across the entire life cycle of individuals, consumers, or even the organization at large. Solving real order problems for the consumers. I mean, if you were to take back a couple of years, addresses was such a challenge. I mean, even today, a number of our tier 2 plus cities, you would typically say that the house address is next to the Lakshmi temple, or let's say, behind the neem tree. And a large part of the focus in terms of infrastructure and focus was largely on delivering. And infrastructure times would be 7 days plus. What's your view in terms of how this is evolving?
Look, when this was being done a while ago, the first thing was the ecosystem was skeptical that will this even work, right? Digitization was new. Getting accustomed to that kind of buying things remotely without seeing it was new. So the most important thing is, can you win the trust of the customers by actually delivering it, even though if it took 7 days, 10 days, whatever. Now that the ecosystem is used to it, it is table stakes. They expect you to deliver. Now, when that expectation goes to that level of what we call quality of service, these are, India-specific problems, you could say, but it's a problem in most of the developing countries where addresses and everything is still not as structured as it needs to be. Interestingly, at Flipkart, there's a lot of technologies that have been developed to address this, but it's also a combination of human in the loop where the sheer enterprising attitude of our wishmasters who understand that local space and institutionally understand how to deliver it has come together in a way that the combination of technology and the human in the loop is helping. Well, even today, with the best of the best mapping technologies that we have probably reached 80% accuracy, 90% accuracy. We still have a long ways to go. While that is happening, India is also getting structured in its addresses, right? So when those two worlds come together, this problem will continuously improve and probably go away, but still the ingeniousness of the human in the loop is always going to stay.
Saying that deliveries of 7 days plus to today, a very hyperlocal, quick world where The entire focus on speed is becoming more front and center. While the verdict on the unit economics is still not there, and people spending money or losing money delivering tomatoes or a packet of chips, how do you think the focus from an engineering mindset could come through to kind of build a more sustainable model in this direction?
Yeah. First from a consumer value proposition, what a fantastic piece of innovation, right? Today, when I'm sitting in Bangalore, 60% of my shopping is done within minutes of me knowing that I need something.
Mm-hmm.
Almost unheard of in in many places in the world. I wouldn't have thought that I would be doing this about a year ago, right? Flipkart Minutes has opened its 1,000th store, and it's in its journey to actually make this happen across India. Yes, it started with making sure that we get the reach, right? We get the customers to understand, win their trust in terms of the speed of delivery and the quality of, and the depth of the search and the catalog that we provide. But now, as we learned, what we are seeing at Flipkart is there is unit economics here. The way to make unit economics work is if you understand customer demand at a granular level. For example, we are able to break down the geography of India into small cells. Mm-hmm. Could be meters, kilometers, depending upon the densities of area. And as we learn the behavior of the consumer in that area, we can customize stores to have assortments that are very specific to that area. So for one, there is no wastage. Secondly, it's very targeted. Third, it actually caters to the demand of that ecosystem. And when all those things come together, the unit economics starts playing well.
Is there something very unique that Flipkart's doing from a tech muscle or a moat that you believe is there in the quick commerce world?
Look, it has to be unique. Otherwise, in this unit economics world, we will not win, right? Now, I wouldn't say that we are the only ones that are doing it. There are others also doing it. Now, who is going to do it well, and who is going to increase the depth of the selection in the product catalog and make it available? That remains to be seen, right? That's a race, right? And it's a technology race more than anything else, right? Everybody is kind of building out stores, and we understand how to do that. The key is really that hyper-personalization, right? And how do you optimize it for that particular cohort of population that you're serving?
Awesome. And obviously, a lot of these technology capabilities create long-term enterprise value for us. And India being such nuanced and complex from a geography as well as a demographic perspective, a lot of the problems are typically that you see even global best US tech companies unable to solve. We pioneered as Flipkart things like cash on delivery, easy returns, just to kind of build more customer trust and franchise. In today's time and age, what are some of the more India-specific problems or consumer-facing problems that you and your team are focused on?
See, a couple of things. One is the phone is your main computer in the house. Previously, it used to be you had to know how to type. Previously, you had to know how to say things in the search bar. It was very transactional. Now, with the advent of technology from machine learning to now broader artificial intelligence and generative AI, you can actually have a conversation within the context of a product. We are rolling out something called an AI mode platform where you can actually literally converse with a product. Yes. And by the way, we are doing multimodal conversations. So you can type, you can decide to talk. Now, voice is becoming such a powerful mode of interaction, and India specifically being so diverse with the plethora of languages, dialects that you have, we are making voice work not only in a multilingual world, but in a multicultural, multilingual world where languages are also interspersed, right, between Hindi and English or other languages. Perfecting that technology and making it work, in a multiplexed, bidirectional fashion is the secret sauce. And Flipkart is working a lot in this area and innovating quite a bit. And we believe that if I can start talking to my app like a shopping assistant that can help me do my things, it's going to be magic. And I can feel it. We are very close, almost at that inflection point inside our product capabilities, and customers are coming along quite well.
And of course, while you talk about the customer side of the journey, we also have a very large seller base, more than 1.4 million sellers who are there on our platform, who trust us both from a cost of doing business and ease of doing business. How does you or your team kind of help the entire seller journey, or what are some of the typical AI use cases that you've helped the seller journey become more easy?
See, we are a marketplace, right? So we need both sides of the ecosystem, customers and sellers. That's what makes for a vibrant marketplace. Now, some of the big things that we are doing for the sellers is how can you easily do business with Flipkart? And there are many parts of the seller journey that is being focused on. One is just pure onboarding. How do you get onboarded very, very quickly, right? How do you onboard your products? We call it listings very quickly. Initially, when we started, the seller had to follow a specific criteria, had to fill a form, put all the details of the product in it, and so on and so forth. Now, with AI, we are at a point where the seller can literally take a picture and out comes a catalog, fully attributed with all the features and the attributions that it needs to be there in our catalog listings for it to be uploaded. And then in addition, we can also enhance the catalog for the seller to make their products look good, right? Through what we call, image generation and video generation if we want. And once the product is uploaded and the seller is doing business, we follow through with what we call as seller intelligence. We help the seller understand how the business is doing, what else they can do better, what are their adjacencies, how they can bring their products to the fore within our product ecosystem by pricing or ads or whatever. So now it's a complete ecosystem. It is not like you just come to us, here is a procedure, you follow it, and then you're on your own. Now it's a complete journey where we handhold our sellers wherever they want us, either through a conversational interface or through technology products called the seller portal that we provide for them. And we are there for them every step of the way.
No, it's amazing to see, and I've been personal witnesses to many of the seller visits where sellers are very excited about some of these innovations, and it has just kind of helped them do business more sharply. And finally, it helps because from a pricing to the customer, they are able to give more, and then the entire flywheel on growth continues. So Balaji, this, as you know, right, one of our priorities actually for the year is also that how do we build an AI native organization? And today AI actually cuts across most stakeholders for us, be it our customers, sellers, and even our employees. Would love if you could maybe share with me and the audience some examples of how AI is touching different lives.
Yeah, look, we have multiple personas inside Flipkart. One is the consumer, front and center. The other is a seller, again front and center, because they are the two biggest participants in the marketplace. And then we have our own internal ecosystem that is managing the marketplace and the operations of everything that we do in our supply chain, because we run our own logistics. So think of it like the category manager or the buyer. Mm-hmm. If you take these three examples, for the customer, we are introducing a conversation-led interface through AI. It's called the AI mode. And through personalization of understanding consumer behaviors and their profiles, we are making their experience richer to what we call content-led commerce, which is hyper-personalized to their need. For example, if you come into the Flipkart application, if you and I open the Flipkart application today, we have something called feeds in our application. Your feed is going to look different than mine because you are interested probably in a different category of products than I am. And then you see those different products. And interestingly also, as you interact with that feed more, that feed adapts itself in real time as you keep scrolling down, right? So content-led commerce and conversational commerce is what we're doing for customers. Similarly, on the seller side, what we're doing is we are helping them get onboarded quickly. We are helping them manage their listings through AI very quickly. For example, you could take a picture of your item that you're selling, and we'll automatically build the catalog for you and load it up. You can enrich your content by telling us that, make this image a little more richer with a better background, or build me a video that shows, how this product is used. And if it's a lifestyle product, you can even drape it, on yourself or, somebody else, and, it'll actually build a video for you using video models. Right? That's how we are helping the seller. In addition, we are also providing the seller deep analytics, we call it seller intelligence, for them to understand how they're doing their business and how they can continue to grow their business, right? And the different channels that they can operate in, because we operate multiple marketplaces. On the buyer side, which is our internal ecosystem, our buyers go through a bunch of activities every day. So here what we are doing is we are providing them productivity tools, right? We are using tools like Claude and everything else, and basically automating their workflows, through agents, through knowledge bases, through RAG, retrieval augmented generation techniques, to help them actually run their workflows, automatically, by having them prompt that this is what they want to do, and there's an agent behind called a buyer agent that takes care of, finding the best price, setting up the contract with the seller, doing automatic replenishment, finding out the right pricing for the seller and helping them, price their products appropriately, making sure that all the contracts are in place ahead of time so that you are running everything just in time, those kind of things.
And while you spoke about conversational interface, and also you touched upon voice in some form in terms of how we are approaching it. So would you fundamentally say that the lives of Indian consumers are going to get a lot simpler? Like, how would you see maybe a use case play out from a shopping mission?
Yeah, for example, voice is going to be a huge enabler. And voice is going to be not only a huge enabler for the quintessential sophisticated consumer, it's opening up, the capability for anybody to interact with our app. And, here is we have seen many examples of this, when we are in the field. For example, a grandma who's not really conversant with English, decides to kind of wanting to use the Flipkart to buy because her daughter or daughter-in-law is not in the house, and she really doesn't know the name of the product or whatever else. So she can literally use voice, talk in the language of her choice, let's say Hindi or Bengali or whatever have you, and say, please order me the dal that my daughter usually buys from you. Interestingly, it is from the same phone number that her daughter ordered. So we have the information about what the daughter ordered from her order history. We go back and look at it. And if we get it, we actually confirm back in voice in her own language to make sure that that's what we want. And we even show her. And she does not have to touch anything. She can just continue to speak in there. Yes, this is the one that I want. And we'll close the loop with her and then do the ordering. So this is how voice is actually helping the consumer who was not very tech savvy or even afraid of using technology now to suddenly start using it and make it very approachable for them.
No, it's super exciting to see this evolution, and really excited for the future of Indian consumers. Talking about one of our flagship events, the Big Billion Days. I've been seeing it over the years, and every year just keeps growing. Billions of visits, millions of concurrent users. How do you plan for infrastructure at that scale and also reliability? Because even a few seconds of downtime causes a massive ripple effect in the entire ecosystem. How do you and your team manage this entire infrastructure challenge?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first heard about Big Billion Days, I was like, what is this? Big Billion Day, what does that mean? And when I experienced it last year is when I came to really understand how big this event is, right? So many customers waiting to buy products from Flipkart. Preparation for it has to be very rigorous, very thorough, and it has to, you have to prepare it pretty much from the end of the last BBD, right? As soon as one BBD ends, you need to start thinking about the next BBD in terms of infrastructure. The key here, Ravi, is when we build our products for scale, right? And in Flipkart, the engineering ethos is, they know, my engineers, our leaders at Flipkart, they know that they're building things for scale. So when you're building things for scale, you test for scale, you deploy for scale, you instrument and you observe for scale. It's a very different mindset in terms of understanding, because it's not an enterprise product that is going and sitting on a PC, right? So first, the engineering ecosystem knows how to do this. And secondly, when we go to BBD, towards a run-up towards it, we do what is called, scale testing. Right. And we also test our deployment infrastructure to be elastic. We also run chaos testing, and we actually introduce failures in the system to make it deliberately fail. And over the years, there are a lot of, flipsters here, as we call them as internal Flipkart employees. They have come up with a recipe to really push the system hard to see where it'll fall, right? That combination, that institutional knowledge, that tooling, that culture of understanding scale and performance is what is making it happen for us, right? But when you actually come in and look at it, the two big things that go into it is the sheer depth of the talent that we have and the sophisticated tooling that we have in our infrastructure to actually make this happen.
No, it's amazing to note that we actually engineer chaos much before it happens. So it's obviously speaks volumes of our talent and our approach. With that, I think we draw to a close, Balaji. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a wrap, guys. I think the feat of understanding technology, AI innovation, and from an engineering mindset, working in organizations which is complex, chaotic, and of course, solving very India-specific problems. With that, thanks once again. Join us soon for our next episode in some time. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ravi. Thanks for giving us the opportunity at Flipkart One Tech Organizations to talk to you.